Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is pretty focused. We are analyzing a whole stack of sources that promise to teach us how to rapidly recognize subtle, often hidden patterns.
Right.
We're talking about everything from that tiny hesitation on an opponent's face to a quiet tactical shot that's just hiding on a chaotic chessboard. We really want to know if you can take that intuitive gut feeling and turn it into something reliable, a systematic, trainable skill.
And that's the core challenge, isn't it? We've pulled material from really diverse fields. We've got visual perception games designed just for speed. We have high-stakes tactical training from competitive chess, deep psychological protocols on, say, nonverbal communication.
Like microexpressions.
Exactly, like microexpressions. And maybe most importantly, we're looking at the current scientific debate, which is often pretty skeptical about commercial brain games.
So we're searching for the methods that actually work, whether the subtlety we're hunting is visual, spatial, or, intensely human. The big question is, are these just fun activities, or are they genuinely reprogramming how our brains process information? Let's unpack this. Okay, let's start at the foundational level. Just raw visual processing speed. Our sources point to games specifically designed to push how fast we can identify patterns. And the standout example cited everywhere is the Game Dump, or as it's known in some places, Spot It.
Oh, it's a brilliant training tool. Just brilliant. And it's all because of its elegant mathematical design.
Go on.
The basic rule is that between any two cards, there is always, and I mean it's guaranteed, exactly one common symbol.
Just one.
Just one. So your brain's task is to find that match, even when the symbols are different sizes or spun around in different ways.
What's so interesting about that is it's not really teaching you a new concept, is it? It's training your brain to handle visual noise.
That's a great way to put it.
I mean, the different sizes, the rotation, all that placement, it forces your neural network to just rapidly filter out all the irrelevant spatial data. You have to find the core pattern, despite all the chaos. It's pattern matching under duress.
Precisely. And you see that same high-pressure visual search idea amplified in other games, too, like the ones that push for a more complex feature identification.
You think of Space Faces?
Yeah, Space Faces, which was invented by Ivan Moscovich, or the updated version of Robot Face Race. You have, 120 different alien faces, each made of different features, and you have to quickly match the one face described by a set of criteria.
That feels like a step beyond symbol matching. It's more of a structured visual search. You're not just reacting, you're systematically comparing features. Is there evidence that doing these kinds of rapid-fire challenges fulfill some kind of deeper cognitive need?
Absolutely. Our sources point out that intellectual games are often just a very elegant way to cater to the need for cognitive arousal and novelty.
So our brains just like being busy.
An active, healthy brain constantly needs stimulation. These games give it that, efficiently. They keep the mind focused on solving structured problems. The brain is basically seeking out efficient novelty.
And this is where it gets really interesting for me, because that cognitive need for speed connects directly to physical ability. If we look at high-level athletics, in sports like rugby, basketball, netball, players rely on something called bulky directionals.
And that is so much more than just being fast. It's about developing what they call neuromuscular adaptations for making split-second decisions while you're moving under pressure.
So the subtle pattern the athlete is spotting isn't just the ball or an opponent.
No, not at all. It's the spatial gap, or it's the tiny defensive misalignment that just appears for a fraction of a second.
So the subtle recognition isn't about identifying a symbol on a card, it's spotting an opening.
Exactly. The drills enhance proprioception, spatial awareness, and it allows the athlete's body to just instantly adapt. It's based on that millisecond of subtle visual information. Their body is trained to skip the conscious thought and jump straight to the right motor response. A quick pivot, a sudden cut. It's the physical version of pattern recognition under a time crunch.
So if our bodies can be trained to spot and use these micro patterns in space, what happens when the patterns are internal? Hidden in human psychology. We're moving now to the highest stakes area of pattern recognition, human behavior.
This requires a pretty big shift. We're going from, say, spatial geometry to emotion and intent. And we have to start with microexpressions.
These are really fast ones, right?
Incredibly fast. They aren't controlled. They're involuntary leakages of concealed emotion that just flash across the face, often for less than half a second.
So how's that different from, just someone being in a bad mood?
Well, a mood lasts longer, and it might only show traces. Think of a sustained, tightened jawline from just general anger or stress.
Okay, that makes sense.
A microexpression, though, is the full, fleeting fleeting, uncontrolled display of a specific suppressed emotion. It's a flash of pure fear, even if the person is actively trying to look calm. And the training targets the speed at which you can consciously notice that flash.
And we've got specialized tools for that now. Apps like In Your Face or Microexpressions that use time tests. They challenge you to recognize cues down to a few hundred milliseconds, right?
They do. They force you to get progressively faster at spotting those really fleeting, low-intensity displays.
So it's not just faces.
Not at all. Beyond facial cues, which falls under a field called kinesics.
The study of body movement.
Right. Resources also really emphasize the importance of chronemics, the study of time in human interaction. And this is a very subtle pattern recognition skill.
That sounds a bit abstract. Can you give us an example? How does recognizing someone's time pattern give you a real insight?
Okay, sure. Think about the difference between monochronic and polychronic people. A monochronic person is all about one task at a time. They stick to schedules. Time is a limited resource. Interrupting them is a big deal.
I think I know a few of those.
We all do. A polychronic person, on the other hand, juggles many things at once. They prioritize relationships, flexibility, they change plans easily. So if you, a monochronic person, see their flexible schedule as a sign of disrespect.
Or that they're unprepared.
Exactly. You completely miss the fundamental pattern of their behavior. You might draw the wrong conclusion about their commitment or even their trustworthiness.
And that has huge applications. I'm immediately thinking of environments built on subtle reads, like live poker.
Oh, absolutely. The specialized poker training protocols go so deep into pattern recognition. They don't just teach you to spot a tell, they teach you to reverse engineer how your opponents try to hide their behavior.
So you're reading their attempts at control.
You are. Experts will dissect hands where their behavioral reads were wrong to find their own failure points. They even learn deceptive reverse tells using subtle conversation or actions to set behavioral traps.
And this is where it all circles back to the high-tech angle, validating how these different subtle cues work together. Tell us about this MHA-FNN.
Right, so researchers developed this model, the MHA-FNN, to recognize four emotions: happy, sad, fear, and calmness in hearing-impaired subjects. What they found was the power of multimodal fusion.
Multimodal meaning more than one source of information.
Exactly. Instead of just relying on one data stream, the AI was trained to fuse EEG signals, that's brain activity, with facial expressions.
So the AI is looking at the eyes and the brain at the same time. What was the payoff for fusing those signals?
It was dramatic. I mean, truly dramatic. The fusion network achieved an 81.14% accuracy.
Wow. And what about the single methods?
Not even close. EEG alone was at 66.85%, and facial expressions alone got 65.75%.
That's a huge difference.
It is, and it confirms that these deeply personal, subtle cues, when you analyze them together, are just exponentially more revealing. They complement each other. It basically validates the whole premise of this deep dive. The full picture is always found in the combination of subtleties.
Okay, so let's move from these complex human cues to more strategic, closed system patterns. The kind you'd find in games that demand memory, strategy, and really rapid tactical recognition. Chess is the ultimate example here.
It really is. Chess masters aren't calculating every single move from scratch. They're relying on these massive internalized databases of patterns. And the training methodology our sources are focusing on for rapid improvement is a very specific woodpecker method.
This method is just fascinating to me because it's all about pure, relentless repetition. It targets chess tactics, the short-term combos that win the game, and it involves solving a big, consistent set of exercises. But the key is the cycle.
That's right. You repeat the exact same set of puzzles, but you systematically cut the time you have in half for each cycle.
So you might solve the set over 4 weeks the first time.
Right. Then you do it again in 2 weeks, then 1 week, then 4 days, and so on. If you're tackling, say, 1,000 puzzles, by the end you're trying to solve all 1,000 in less than a week.
But wait, if you're repeating the exact same puzzles, how do you keep yourself from just memorizing the answers instead of actually developing real pattern intuition?
That's where the speed constraint comes in. It's the answer. The goal is to force your brain out of that slow, analytical calculation system, what psychologists call System 2 thinking, and into the fast, intuitive, pattern-matching mode, System 1.
I see.
When you only have a few seconds to solve a complex puzzle, you don't have time to calculate 15 moves deep. You have to recognize the basic motifs. The fork, the pin, the back rank mate, instantly. The memory reinforces the pattern, but the time constraint forces the intuition. intuition.
And digital platforms have really supercharged this. Lich's Puzzle Rush is a perfect example. It just throws 15 to 30 positions at you in 3 minutes, and it adapts the difficulty in real time.
It's pattern drilling at an industrial speed. And you also see these advanced techniques in chess that specifically boost that foundational visual spatial processing. Things like blindfold training or visualization exercises.
Where players calculate positions without even seeing the board.
And studies show those practices can produce a 30 to 50% improvement in visual spatial processing. You're literally training the ability to manipulate patterns inside your own head.
And a lot of the general cognitive puzzles people use every day operate on that same principle, don't they? Daily, high-intensity pattern work. We see it in Wordle, which is basically a 5-letter guessing challenge that relies on quickly testing patterns.
Or customized training apps like Elevate, which target reading, writing, speaking, and math, and they track your performance to keep you consistent. All these methods share one concept. If you want to master a subtle pattern, you have to expose your brain to the massive structured volume of it under progressively tighter time constraints.
Which brings us to, I think, the most critical part of this deep dive. We've established that these protocols can make you better at very specific skills. Getting better at chess, faster at spawning symbols. But does getting better at the game translate to getting better at life?
Does it transfer?
Exactly. Does pattern recognition in a game actually transfer to improving real-life function?
This is the massive divide in the cognitive science community. And it's what led to all the legal trouble for some of these commercial ventures. You have to look back at the Federal Trade Commission's complaint against Lumosity.
Right, they were penalized.
Heavily. For deceptive advertising, they were making claims that their games could delay things like dementia. The result was a $2 million payment and a $50 million suspended judgment.
So the core scientific skepticism is really all about this idea of transfer. Can you break down the difference between the improvement people actually see and the improvement they're hoping for?
Sure. There are basically two types of transfer: near transfer and far transfer. Near transfer means you get better at a skill that's very closely related to the one you practice. So, playing double might make you better at another rapid-fire visual search task.
Okay, you've just reinforced a specific skill loop.
Exactly. But far transfer, that's the holy grail, right?
Right.
Far transfer would mean getting great at Lich's Puzzle Rush makes you a more organized person who is less likely to lose your keys. And the main criticism against brain games is that the tests they use to measure improvement are almost always too similar to the games themselves.
So you're just teaching to the test.
You're teaching to the test, you're demonstrating near transfer, but there's no clear evidence of far transfer to real-life function.
That's a pretty tough assessment. But it doesn't mean the whole practice is useless, does it? What are the positive counterpoints?
Well, even if the big claims about preventing cognitive decline are, scientifically shaky, researchers do agree that playing these games may improve attention levels, memory, response time, and logic skills, especially if you do it consistently over a long lifespan.
And there's no harm in it.
Exactly. There's a consensus that there's no harm in having a challenging hobby that brings you joy and encourages you to keep learning. That's just generally good for your mental health.
And the positive link seems much stronger for analog, non-digital games.
Yes, because they often bring in a social component. Study after study shows that traditional analog games, board games like chess and Monopoly, card games like bridge, dice games like Yahtzee, they all correlate with better cognitive function and a reduction in cognitive decline in older adults.
So it's the combination of the challenge and the social connection.
It is. They promote diverse challenges and that vital social connectivity, which is a major cognitive booster all by itself.
So at the end of the day, the sources are pretty clear on what proven mental fitness practices really look like. And they often happen away from a screen.
We have to reinforce that. The non-game activities that all the experts agree on. Regular physical exercise is strongly linked to increased brain volume. Staying socially connected is demonstrably linked to a lower risk of Alzheimer's. And practices like mindfulness, getting proper sleep, and challenging the brain by learning a truly new, complex skill like a language or a musical instrument. That's the gold standard.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner, looking to cultivate this skill?
I think it means the journey to enhance subtlety recognition requires deliberate, high-repetition practice with progressively higher speeds. You have to train your nervous system to skip that slow, conscious calculation and just jump into the right response.
whether you're trying to read a chessboard.
Or a special opening on the basketball court, or the tightening around a speaker's eyes.
And that journey brings us all the way back to that incredibly sophisticated AI model we talked about,
Yeah.
the MHA-FNN, which learns to recognize our internal states by fusing those intensely personal, subtle data points, brain signals, and facial expressions.
Exactly. We are manually training ourselves to spot the imperceptible subtleties in human behavior at the exact same time that advanced AI systems are being designed to do the same thing, only faster and with, deeper access to our physiological data.
Which raises a pretty interesting final thought for you, the learner, to consider.
If a sophisticated technology like that requires strong privacy-preserving mechanisms, things like federated learning, which lets the AI learn without your personal data ever leaving your device, if it needs that to prevent your data from being exploited, what commitment should we make to our own self-awareness? If our own subtle cues can be reverse engineered by AI and exploited by savvy opponents, maybe our personal training set should prioritize not just spotting the patterns in others, but achieving the emotional intelligence and self-mastery needed to control and understand our own subtle cues. That deeper dive into self-awareness, that's the ultimate layer of protection.